What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream. Lots more Arsenal transfer news going off. And remember, people, if it makes sense, then Arsenal will not do it. That is the trademark from now on, people. Hope you're all safe and well wherever you are. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Let's get into the latest transfer news. There are a few bits of news going around. I said Arteta clown settings. I'm sure those settings will return. Any thoughts on the Aston Villa third bid? As far as I'm aware, they haven't actually made a third bid for Smith Rowe yet. It's being reported that they may return with a third offer, but they haven't actually made that offer yet, as far as I'm aware anyway. So I haven't heard that. Another day of more pain for Arsenal. What's up, Big CEO Paul, as well? That's an hilarious motto. It's true, man. It's true. I'm telling you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, people. Croatia is watching. Odd times ahead. Listen, let's hope Arsenal can sort things out, man. Listen, Camavinga, I'm not saying we're getting him. I'm just saying what the stories say. But we will talk about that later in the video. Don't worry, people. Right, let's give you the latest news. You've seen the headline on the title. And you can see who we're being linked with today. We are linked FC, people. Every day we're linked with a different team, somebody different. And Charlie said, afternoon, isn't it refreshing watching England? Bro, it's been an absolute relief watching England and not having to watch Arsenal. But let's hope we start next season with something different. Jansen said, first time tuning in for a few days, been without electricity for a few days due to the Hurricane Elsa hitting Barbados. Listen, I hope you're safe and well. My thoughts are with everyone in the Caribbean and wherever is being affected by that hurricane, man. Hope you're all safe. Keep safe and, glad that you can tune back in, man, and that you've got electricity back. But I hope, obviously, the hurricane moves away quickly. Yeah, look, man, you can see the legends in the background. We need them guys, man. We need them guys back involved in the football club. Obviously, Patrick Vieira, the new Crystal Palace manager. Will he give us Wilfred Zaha, man? Will he give us Eze? Give us one of them players on the cheap. But here's the story of the day so far. The breaking news that came out a little earlier is that Brighton have accepted a £50 million bid from Arsenal for Ben White. Now, this is according to Football London. It's not necessarily gospel. It's not being reported by Sky Sports and things like that. Sky Sports saying that we're still talking about how we're going to structure the 50 million. But according to Football London, who are pretty close to Arsenal, they're involved in the press conferences and things like that. They're saying a £50 million offer will be accepted. Trust me, Klarna settings, bro. You know what I'm saying? Typical Arsenal cash generator, layaway business. And by the way, happy 4th of July for yesterday. I didn't stream yesterday. So anybody in America or with American connections, happy 4th of July. I hope you didn't celebrate too much and get too drunk for yesterday. But the story, yeah, Ben White for 50 million. Now, there are reports that Chelsea are looking at him. There's reports that Manchester City are looking at him. Personally, when I look at Manchester City, first of all, when you break that one down, Pep usually doesn't have more than 4 centre-backs at a club. You look at the right side centre-back, he's got John Stones, who's playing brilliant for England. He's got Ruben Diaz, who's just won Player of the Season. You look at the left-hand side, he's got Aymeric Laporte and he's got Nathan Ake. So to me, I don't see where Manchester City would fit Ben White. Equally with Chelsea, I kind of look at it. Rudiger finished the season well. Christensen had a good season for them. Thiago Silva's extended the contract. So there's 3. I suppose there has been talk of Zuma being sold, so maybe the Chelsea connection has legs. The Manchester City one, to me, doesn't really make sense. Sometimes, agents throw these clubs out to try and force Arsenal to pay the fee quickly. But what I will say, if Arsenal want this player, they've got to get the deal done, because what's going to happen now? Even if 50 million has been accepted, what Brighton are going to say is, do you know what? Yeah, cool. 50 million, we accept it, but give it 2 weeks. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. because Brighton want this to turn into an auction. They want Chelsea to come in with 55 and then somebody offers 60. All of a sudden, a player that's maybe £30 million in value ends up going for 60 million because two clubs are fighting for him. So Arsenal need to speed up if this is a deal they want to get done. For me, if it goes beyond 50 million, Arsenal should put both hands up and say, listen, man, I'm cool. I'll walk away from this. We see him as a good player, potentially a very talented player, but anything more than, I mean, for me, 50 million he's not worth 50 million, but he may come in and prove that he is worth 50 million. But if you go into 55, 60, I'm walking away from it. I would leave this deal alone. I do think he's a talented player. He's 23. He's good on the ball. He's English. You know, he knows the league. But 50 million and anything beyond 50 million, I would be leaving it alone, even though I do think he has got talent. Jake said, thanks, Curtis. Lots of beer sold over the weekend here for sure. I'm sure, man, there was some great celebrations. I saw a few videos online of celebrations. Fran said, if Chelsea and Man City want White, we are third choice. Listen, if any one of those two are genuinely serious about signing him, let's face it, we're not going to get him. That's the reality. You know, you don't turn down Pep Guardiola and the champions of England for Arsenal. You don't turn down Chelsea, who've just won the Champions League, for Arsenal. With Arsenal in their current situation, in years gone by, you would have rejected both of those clubs for Arsenal, no doubt about it. But it's a lot different right now. In regards to this story, obviously Football London, they are saying as well, Ben White to Arsenal, the latest, as Chelsea look to rival. The little picture is here saying that Arsenal are close to signing White. It has been confirmed that the Gunners have now seen a £50 million bid accepted by Brighton. But I get the impression, like I said, that Brighton are saying, okay, fine, we'll take your 50 million, but it's not a done deal. You know, we're going to wait and see who else. Why would Brighton rush to sell him to us for 50 if Chelsea come in? Listen, you know how Chelsea do business. You know how Manchester City do business. If they want this guy, they'll say, what, 55, 60? There's the money. Give us the player. No negotiations. The deal's done. And that's why Arsenal miss out sometimes on some of these players, because they're fiddling around and, yeah, we'll give you 42 plus 5 and we'll play it over 5 years. And do you know what I mean? It's not a done deal yet, Raul. It's not. I think an offer has been accepted. But the deal is not done yet. He's going to wait until the Euros finish, is from what we're hearing. And that may change everything. It's a horrible situation as an Arsenal fan, because back in the day, if we wanted a player like this, you know, the deal would be done straight away. You know, Arsenal want you. You'd be jumping through hoops. This guy was playing for Peterborough United 2 or 3 years ago. The fact he's got an opportunity to join Arsenal, you know, it should be like a dream come true for this guy. But the reality is he'll be saying, okay, you know what? I'm willing to go to Arsenal, but find out what Chelsea want first, or find out what Man City want, because unfortunately, we're not at that top table right now. And this is crazy, you know, to think that Arsenal can't just go and sign a player from Brighton. You know, no disrespect. Brighton a few years ago were down in like League One. I remember their old stadium, running track around it, no stand behind one of the goals. And now we can't get a player from there. But listen, let's see what happens. I still think this deal is in Arsenal's hands. If that Chelsea link is genuine, then I think that throws a big spanner in the works. For me, the Manchester City one, I think is speculation. I don't think Pep wants him. He's got 4 centre-backs. Why would he go and spend 50 million on a centre-back to have 5 when he's trying to buy the likes of Harry Kane for 100 million and Grealish? Big up. Simon said, up to now, I don't understand why we are signing Ben White. We had the 3rd best defensive record last season. Defense is not our problem. 2 things on that, Simon, in my opinion. Defensively, we didn't concede as many goals. That's a fact. 3rd best in terms of goals conceded. But on top of that, if you add context to that, we lost 13 games in the league. So maybe we're not losing games 3-0, 4-0 like maybe we did years ago under Wenger, but we're losing more games, which still, to me, doesn't say that we have a better defense. Goals conceded is one thing, but 13 defeats in the league tells me that our defense is not necessarily better. Why I think he wants Ben White, you watch a lot of Arsenal games. How many times do you see Leno playing the ball to the likes of Rob Holding? Clearly, Arteta wants to play out from the back. And I don't think in Holding, Murray, Chambers, Gabriel, we have a centre-back that is particularly good on the ball. In fact, our best ball-playing centre-back was David Luiz. You know, he was the guy who was most comfortable on the ball. So this is why I think he wants Ben White. Do I think Ben White is the answer to our solution for 50 million? I would have probably looked elsewhere. But he does have talent, he does have potential, and he's identified him. So at this stage, I can only hope that it works out if he comes to us. Big up Daniel Ferreira said, Curtis, we need you as a negotiator, bro. I'll probably be too harsh, man. You know what I mean? Big up Fran, he said, make sure you go and check out Fran's channel, FFTV. He says, big up everyone in the chat. Love the support, everyone. Hit the likes for Curtis. Big up, bro. Hope you're well. Me and Fran will probably get a show done this week, especially if England get to the Euros final, you know. Don Curtis, brown envelopes. Hey, whatever it takes, man. You know what I'm saying? If a few brown envelopes have to fly about, I'll make Arsenal great again, man. MAGA settings, you know. Donald Trump, what was it? Make America great. I'll make Arsenal great again. Saliba is good on the ball, but hey, man, listen, I prefer not to speak. We did talk about Saliba in the show, not yesterday, the day before. I was talking about him for about half an hour non-stop. It's a situation that I can't get my head around, personally. Last year, they said Saliba needed to go on loan to get more first-team experience. He gets more. He comes back. You say he needs to go on loan to get more first-team experience. I've said this personally. This loan, to me, for Saliba, looks like one of them loans that potentially you don't come back from. And that's what's worrying me. When he went to Nice for 6 months, I was like, yeah, he'll come back from Nice. They're a mid-table team. They haven't got the money to buy him, really. He comes back from that. With Marseille, they're a pretty big club in France. They've got a big fan base. They've got money to spend. They're in the Europa League. If I'm William Saliba after 3 loans and I'm at Marseille, big fan base, playing in Europe, you know, Guendouzi's over there as well. If he has a good season with 2 years left on his Arsenal deal, I'm potentially sitting there thinking, you know, I don't want to come back to Arsenal if Mikel Arteta's there. I'm thinking, well, the way you've treated me over the past 3 years, if I'm doing well at a team like Marseille, maybe I say, you know what, I'm cool, bro. 2 years left on my deal, let me go. You know, and that's what's worrying me with this situation. William said, we went from signing a travel agent running Arsenal to a YouTube streamer. Curtis is an upgrade on Edu. I'm telling you, man, that guy, man, let him book your holidays, move your kit, get you a transfer from the airport. I don't know if he's the guy to be dealing with Arsenal transfers, especially the way he's been moving in this transfer window. You know, I thought we'd be sitting here with 5 signings by now. We haven't signed anyone officially. Big up Jashari says, big up Curtis. I agree. I think Saliba is gone. It's one of them, innit? Because the reality is we all run around bigging up Saliba. We don't really know how good he would be at Arsenal. But the problem you have is they compared him to Varane. We paid 27 million for him. Loads of other clubs wanted him. And you know, we got players like Holding and that who are not world beaters. So you kind of think he should have at least been given the opportunity. We should have seen him and gone, actually, yeah, he's not good enough. Send him on loan. We'd all be chilling. But because we haven't seen him, we're like, well, hang on, what's the problem here? You can't, as a manager, let a personal vendetta stop you from developing the team to your best of your ability. You can't cut off your nose to spite your face. You're an inexperienced manager, Mikel Arteta. You've never managed in your career. Yet you're telling a player he needs to get more experience. Like, give him the experience. Arsenal gave you the opportunity with nothing on your CV. Why can't Saliba be given that opportunity? Give him pre-season. Take him to Scotland. Take him to America. Have a look at him for 4 weeks. Why send him out on loan at the start of the transfer window? You know, we could have had him in pre-season for 4 weeks, had a close look at him. Maybe then you say, do you know what? We took him on tour. He didn't look good enough. But it's just like, no, he's back. Get him out. He needs more experience. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is. Arteta is a jackass. Smash the likes, people. Get the likes up to 1K. You do not get in the Liga Team of the Year after 6 months if you are crap. Exactly. He has to have some potential. But listen, we're going to move on from him because it's one of them players you feel like you're just banging your head against a brick wall. He doesn't like him. It's clear there's a personal issue there. It's the dictator settings for real. John Layup, big up, bro. He said, remember Cardiff City's old ground, Ninian Park? Do you know what? I never went there, but I do remember it. I have been to Cardiff a couple of times, but to their new stadium. I never actually went to their old ground. But them old grounds had a lot of character. You know, I remember Southampton, the Dell. Very difficult place to go, close to the pitch. West Ham, Upton Park, you know, even Highbury for us, you know, those grounds can be more of a fortress. Should have registered him in the Europa League and EFL Cup last year. You know, we had the easiest Europa League that we've probably ever had in the groups. I think it was the first time we'd won every game in the group stage. It would have been the perfect opportunity for him to get game time. Big C should react to player comps like Rants. Yeah, it's something I wouldn't mind doing maybe at some stage. Big up Rants, man. They're quality compilations that he's been doing, man. Really good. So big up Rants on that. Let's look at some of the other transfer news coming in. Lots of speculation running around today. The Arsenal striker situation seems to be shaping up. Fabrizio Romano was on Sky Sports earlier today. Dharmesh Chef was on as well. And according to this, I mean, anyone who watches this channel on a regular basis, you know this story doesn't make me too unhappy, right? Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah will leave in this transfer window after he rejected Arsenal's contract offer. I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing that Arsenal offered him a contract and he rejected it, but it is what it is. They'll say it was to retain his value, blah, blah, blah. We understand Bayer Leverkusen and 3 Premier League clubs are interested, as first reported by Fabrizio Romano. Now, from what I've read, I believe 2 of the clubs, one of them's Brighton and one of them is Watford. There were reports that the 3rd club may be Crystal Palace, but I'm not sure if that would have changed with Patrick Vieira now coming in. Vieira may or may not want him. But Eddie Nketiah was offered a new 3-year contract by Arsenal. He has rejected the contract due to a lack of game time. Tristan said, Curtis, I see those tears. I don't buy the tough act. You love Eddie. Do you know what? I like Eddie's perseverance, his personality. I've got nothing personally against the guy. Listen, if you make it professional at Arsenal, you've played higher than probably 99.9% of people in the world. Who am I to criticize him as a footballer? But at the end of the day, I just don't think Eddie Nketiah is good enough for Arsenal. It's as simple as that. It's nothing personal. So, yeah, 3 Premier League clubs and Bayer Leverkusen. Ruben said tears of joy. Chris said, I actually love that he rejected the contract. I know he probably rang him up and said, listen, man, yeah, put code settings. Man said, listen, I'm taking my SIM card. I'm getting a new phone contract elsewhere. You know, he's still running around with like an iPhone 6 at Arsenal. You know, he needs that upgrade, man. He needs to go somewhere else and spread his wings. Apparently, Brighton are a club that's very interested in him. So surely, you know, why would Arsenal not include it in a deal for Ben White and reduce the fee? It would make sense. Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy that. Well, I am happy. No disrespect. I'm happy that Eddie's going, but is it more like embarrassing for Arsenal that Eddie rejected the contract? You know, again, he dumped Arsenal. Arsenal didn't dump him. You know, it's like when you're a kid in school, you're going out of a girl, you break up, you go say, listen, make sure everyone knows I dumped her. You know, she didn't dump me. You know, but Eddie dumped Arsenal first. It is what it is, people. But apparently it's between 10 and 15 million pounds Arsenal are looking at. Number one, what are your thoughts on Eddie Nketiah leaving? If you're like me, very much, I feel this is right for him, I think, as well, to go to a team like Brighton, Watford, get game time, learn the Premier League a little bit more. We're under too much pressure to develop a player like Eddie at the moment. And second of all, is 10 to 15 million enough money in your opinion? I mean, he is 22 years of age. He's the top goal scorer in under 21's history for England. Are you happy he's going? Would you take between 10 and 15? Let me know on that one, people. Mark Xavier said, afternoon, Curtis, en route to work and was going to listen to some jams, but now you're on. Your stream takes precedent. Big up. Hey, big up, bro. Come on. We don't need no Radio 1 extra, Heart Radio. We're here. We're live. Curtis Shaw TV. Big up Mark on the way to work. Make sure you focus on the road. And let's talk transfers, people. Would you take 10 to 15 for Eddie? AYN said 15 million plus his phone contract. Take the phone with you, Eddie. Do your phone celebration elsewhere. What is the betting? After all this slander that I've been giving Eddie, right? And it is banter, it's nothing personal. We can already see next season him playing for a team like Brighton, Danny Welbeck and Eddie Nketiah up front. And Eddie Nketiah scores against Arsenal and does the phone celebration against Arsenal. I can already see it happening. I can already see it. Oh, the Gooner said, Curtis, Eddie is a better striker than you. I'm not sure if he is. I'm telling you, mate, AFT, VFC, I think Eddie would be on the bench, maybe come on last 20 when I'm tired. But no, I don't think he gets in. Liam said, I'd take a $1.99 McDonald's bus ticket for him. That's a bit too expensive, in my opinion. But hey, we keep it moving. Eddie, if you ever watch this, by the way, I'm only joking. I don't want to slander a young player. It is banter strictly, man. Man said Eddie will be calling you. But Eddie Nketiah on his way out of Arsenal, 10 to 15 million. 4 clubs want him, 3 Premier League clubs. And I believe, like I said, one is Watford, one is Brighton. The third one apparently was Crystal Palace. But if Patrick Vieira is the manager now, maybe he would have changed his mind on that one. AFTV is 8th. Bro, I think we're higher than that, bro. And to be fair, where did Arsenal finish last year? So it's progress, you know what I mean? But hey, when this story is expanded, the second part of the story, let me just open that up. Where was the next part? Right, here was the second part of the story regarding another Arsenal striker. This is according to Sky Sports News. Jess said Eddie or Shamak. Yo, Shamak did more than Eddie, but Shamak was on good money and didn't perform. Let's keep it 100. But Shamak, his goal record was better. Watford would be perfect. Training grounds right next door to Arsenal. He wouldn't have to move house or anything. No talks are planned or are ongoing for a new contract for Arsenal striker Alexander Lacazette. If the right offer comes in, he will be sold. And as I said, I've looked a bit more into this story. It's believed Arsenal want between 20 and 25 million pounds for Lacazette. It's believed that Lyon are interested in signing him, and also Monaco are interested in him. His wages are a big issue. He's on £150,000 a week at Arsenal, which French football is going for a massive financial problem at the moment. Apart from PSG, who are obviously like a money bags club in France, they can spend whatever they want. A lot of the other clubs in France are struggling financially. Canal Plus, the deal collapsed. So a lot of the money through TV revenue is not there in France at the moment. What I want to know, same question I want to ask you as the Eddie Nketiah one. For you, Alexander Lacazette, would you sell him? Would you get rid of him this summer? With Aubameyang, Balogun, Martinelli, this talk of him playing through the middle. We may have to go and sign another striker. And would you take 20 to 25 million for Lacazette, or do you feel he's worth more than that? Let me know in the comments, people. But according to this report coming off Sky Sports, no plans for Arsenal to offer Lacazette a new contract. Now, he has got a year left on his deal. And it was interesting because Lacazette has been at the club now for 4 years. And apparently, actually, it's 4 years to the day that Lacazette was bought. And this picture came up today. Alexander Lacazette signed 4 years ago, 170 games played, 65 goals, 28 assists, 1 FA Cup. For me, I'm keeping it 100 as I always do. Lacazette, for me, one thing I've always respected with Lacazette is he gives everything. He gives everything. I've never watched a game for Arsenal and said, you know what, Lacazette's tossing it off. He's jogging around. He's not working. Lacazette gives everything. He has a good relationship with the fans. I think he really cares about the club. So in that sense, I give you a lot of respect. His goal record is okay. It's meaty. It's mediocre. We paid £50 million for Lacazette 4 years ago. At that time, 50 million. I mean, 50 million's a lot now. But 50 million 4 years ago was an absolute fortune. His numbers, in my opinion, have not lifted from where Olivier Giroud was. Giroud was getting similar numbers to this. 12 goals, 14 goals, 15 goals a season max in the league. I think the sign of any top striker in the Premier League is 20 goals a season. Lacazette's never hit 20 goals. He was brought in as an upgrade on Giroud. What I will say with Lacazette, I do think he's a good player. He scored a lot of big goals in important games. I think he offers you a different option to Aubameyang. He's a far better link-up player, far better with his back to goal. But the goals are just not enough. And ultimately, strikers are judged on goals. Unless you're a Roberto Firmino, who is more of a false nine, a link-up player. You know, and as Dominic's saying here, at Lyon, he was ferocious. Like you're saying, he was like a tank. I thought this guy was going to become one of the best goal scorers in the world. He just hasn't become that in the Premier League. Carney said we got robbed. Buenos Aires Guna, I'm a fan of Laka, but it's time to go. And I don't think he could do better. Liga is different. Zaroud said, I don't think he could do better, especially when Aubameyang came in. I mean, the question you got to ask yourself, we waited years to sign a striker. We signed Lacazette in the summer, and in January, we bought Aubameyang. So clearly, there was deficiencies that Arsene Wenger saw in his game and felt like he's not going to score enough goals. Drew said, I play him as a 10 in FIFA behind Aubameyang, and it works. Hey, listen, FIFA is FIFA, isn't it, though? It's a lot different. But I hear you. He does look like he could play in that role, but has he got the link up, the work rate to help the midfield? I don't know. It's a shame. Laka's got a year on his deal. I don't think Arsenal should be extending it. I got to be honest. But it's if we can get the offer for him. I don't know if these French clubs outside of PSG can afford to pay Lacazette 150 grand a week for 2 or 3 years at the age of 30. Is he worth that money? Are those clubs going to give him that kind of money to leave on a 3 or 4 year deal? So like I said, Lacazette, 4 years at the club, 170 games, 65 goals, 28 assists, and 1 FA Cup in that time for Laka. Lubert, thank you for the super chat. Said, Curtis, what is the status of the players we are linked with? When we will hear the signings announced? Because I'm getting frustrated. We need to be aggressive, bro. We're all getting frustrated. Seriously, it's very frustrating. You want to see Arsenal be proactive, not reactive. You know, we should have gone into this transfer window with a plan. But I just think at the moment, the reason Arsenal are not signing players is I think we need to sell a number of players. The squad is massive. We have only over 25 players in the squad. We had 7 players out on loan last season. We've got no European football as well, which means you need a smaller squad. And I just think the board are probably saying to Arteta, you need to get rid of 3 or 4 players before you can start bringing players in. That's my opinion. South London's finest. It's mad to me because he gets more of a pass than Aubameyang does by the fans. It's strange, isn't it? Because Aubameyang's done way more than Lacazette. But people seem to turn on Aubameyang quicker. And this is what I'm saying, because sometimes I think you watch Aubameyang and you think, is he really putting it in? And sometimes that kind of passion, as we get, you know, certain fans get caught up in that. Well, look at his work rate. But to me, Lacazette is not on the level or has reached the level that Aubameyang has reached at Arsenal. But Aubameyang, of course, last season was not at that level. Let's hope he hits that this season. But for me, Lacazette, give me 20 million plus and I'm accepting it. The problem Arsenal have got, if nobody offers 20 million plus, he's got a year left on his contract. I don't think Arsenal can afford to let a player like Lacazette run down his deal and leave on a free next season. That is bad business. If we got into the end of the transfer window and there was no offer for him, I think I would potentially offer him a 1-year extension just to protect his value so that next year he's still worth something to the club, even if it's 15 million. He can't be going on a free. Sean said, good numbers for a DM. Oh, man. I mean, at times he has played like that, to be fair. Kevon hit the likes. Yeah, big up Kevon on that. Now, Leddy said, Aubameyang and Lacazette need to go ASAP, bring in Sterling. I mean, the problem is, where's the goals coming from? I think we've got to stick by Aubameyang for one more season. I got to be honest. I know he had a bad season, but I still think there's a player there if we create enough for him. If he don't sign an extension, he has to go this summer. He has to. If he doesn't sign an extension and clubs aren't offering 20, we may even have to let Aubameyang go for, not Aubameyang, sorry, Lacazette go for 15 million quid. We simply can't afford to let a 50 million pound striker, although he's not worth 50 million now. we can't let him walk out the door for that cheap. You know, there has to be some money coming in. We can't keep saying self-sustaining model and then just let players walk out of the door. You know, it just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So that's the latest on that one. But I think that Eddie and Ketty will definitely go in this window. With Lacazette, it will depend. Joel said, Curtis, the one and only. Big up, bro. I appreciate that. Tally said, yeah, I agree. 1 year contract for Lacazette, that could work. Pete Witham said, Curtis, how you doing, bro? I'm a Southampton fan. It upsets me seeing how far a great club like Arsenal have fallen. Listen, do you know what? I appreciate your sympathy towards us, to be honest. Not many clubs do have sympathy with Arsenal, but it's the way football goes. You know, you build yourself up to a certain situation, even in life. You know, if you get it in a job and you do well and you get to a top job, you can't all of a sudden think, right, I'm in this top job now and I'm earning, 70 grand a year and I'm living good. And I'm just going to start chilling now and switching off and not doing the things that got me there. In life, one thing I've realized that them key things that get you somewhere, they're the things that will continue getting you somewhere. If you stop once you've reached somewhere, you will fall down quickly. And that's what Arsenal have done. They became this giant of football, of English, of European football, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. And all of a sudden they went, yeah, do you know what? We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. So, yeah, we don't need to spend big money. We don't need to invest. And this is now they're falling down the ladder. And the problem is, under this ownership, with these guys running the club, how do we get back up that ladder? Because we're not in at the top table. Look at the players we're being linked with. We're not going for the biggest, the best players. We're going for players that some of us probably even hardly ever heard of. I didn't know much about Albert Lokonga last summer or Nuno Tavares, They may come in and be great players, so I'm not slandering them and saying they're not good enough. But in reality, we want a trademark, big signing that's going to lift the fan base, that will make you want to go and buy the new shirt. That's the way it goes. Arsenal players need to be beasted, 100%. Pardon the pun, but if we drop the ball with Matt Ryan, do you know what? Takan? Thank you very much for mentioning Matt Ryan, because I did mean to talk about him. Matt Ryan is in talks with Real Sociedad. Apparently, a fee has been agreed with Brighton for Matt Ryan. And I think the problem, this goalkeeper situation seems a bit strange to me with Arsenal. I felt like we were going to sign a number 2 goalkeeper. So I thought Arsenal would probably go back and sign Matt Ryan. I think he's a sufficient number 2. But we're being linked with goalkeepers for 20 mil, 30 mil. And I'm like, we're not going to buy a 30 million goalkeeper and put him on the bench for Leno. So does that suggest that Bernd Leno is telling Arsenal he wants to leave? Because we're being linked with Ramsdale, Sam Johnston, Onana, all these goalkeepers that are number 1 goalkeepers. I don't think Sam Johnston, Aaron Ramsdale would leave to come to Arsenal to sit on the bench. They're trying to get in the England team. That tells me that all maybe is not well with Leno, which then, we're not going to do the whole Emi Martinez thing, but, it makes you think in your head, how can you let Emi go for 20 mil? And then a year later, the guy you chose ahead of him is now turning around saying, I want to leave, and then you're going to go and buy somebody else who's not as good as either one of them. It's the Arsenal way, I'm afraid. If it makes sense, it won't happen. This is Arsenal. I tell you one thing, and I'm making this like a public service announcement. If anyone from Arsenal ever watches these streams, Aaron Ramsdale, right, stay well away from him. There are a number of goalkeepers out there that are decent goalkeepers, right? Sam Johnston is better than Aaron Ramsdale. Do not sign Aaron Ramsdale for Arsenal, please. No disrespect. I don't want Ramsdale. And if you're talking about number 1, that is insane business. I hope that's pure speculation. But if it isn't, they better make sure they don't go for a guy like that. Buenos Aires Guna, we have already spent some of the Emmy money on Renalson. Yeah, potentially one of the worst goalkeepers we've ever signed. Tell him, bro. I'm telling you, anyone who's watched Ramsdale, no disrespect, maybe he's Premier League standard goalkeeper, but not Arsenal, bro. And like I said, typical Arsenal, out of all the players we're being linked with, the guy that I'm saying, please don't sign him. We will probably end up signing him. You know, big up, big C. What's happened to you? Nana links. He's being linked with Leon now, and I think Leon are saying, listen, come here and be first choice. Arsenal maybe are saying, come here and compete with Bernd Leno. So, you know, what are you going to do? Leon have Europe as well. So I think Onana will be difficult to get. You're only as good as your team. Sometimes, but he was making a lot of mistakes last year. I think goalkeepers can still look solid at lesser teams, you know. So where I hear you on that, but I don't want. Yeah, now I've said that. We'll probably sign Ramsdale for about 30 million, you know. Pego said, big up Curtis. Do you think it may be a blessing that we do not get Ben White because we really don't need him, and then maybe we go for Basuma? I mean, listen, in the real world, that would make sense. But unfortunately, Arsenal live in this bubble of something else, you know. So we'll probably go and buy someone even worse than Ben White for about 50 million again. But it is what it is. Personally, I think we will get Ben White. I think we will get that deal done. But let's see how good he is. That's the main. If he comes in and he looks brilliant for Arsenal. Now, I've always said in football, nobody talks about the price tag of a player when they do well. Right? Nobody at all mentions that Van Dijk costs 75 million. Because when you look at the guy play, you go, what a player. What a player. In fact, Van Dijk is a bargain at 75 mil. He's that good. You only talk about a player's price when you think, boy, he hasn't really done the business. You know, people saying Naby Keita, you know, he costs big money. People question that. Pepe at Arsenal, I rate Pepe. But 75 mil, he hasn't fulfilled that yet. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but people talk about the price tag a lot. There are a lot of other players as well, you know. If Ben White comes in for 50 million, he's our best centre-back. No one will talk about 50 mil. In fact, we'll be going, he's 23, he's an England international, he's brilliant on the ball. 50 mil was a bargain. Let's just hope, you know, let's just hope. Over 1.5K in here, people. Brilliant support on this Monday morning. Thank you very well. Monday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Make sure you smash a like. Can we get 1,000 likes? And subscribe if you haven't already. We need a right back ASAP. Again, the problem with this, we have a current right back that is on £110,000 a week in Hector Bellerin. When you look at the clubs that are looking at him, the likes of Real Betis and Villarreal, they are not going to be able, in my opinion, to pay Hector Bellerin 110 grand a week, plus with a transfer fee, plus a signing on fee. It may be a case of loaning him out. Inter wanted him on loan. Loan with an obligation to buy. Loan with an option can't work, but obligation could work. Big up Wilson. He said, yo, Curtis, I hope you're staying safe and doing well. I'm good, bro. Robert said, everything. Evening here in Finland. Enjoying the show, Big C. Big up, bro. Bellerin is over 110k. But from what I read, his basic, let me double check. But I read that his basic was 110k a week. Let's see what they're saying here. It could even be more than that, you know. Let's have a look. Here is transfer. Hector Bellerin. Yeah, 110k basic with bonuses. Apparently, he takes home around 130k with bonuses. You know, who's going to pay Hector Bellerin 110k basic? False manager said football needs to come home, then I can try retire from football and forget about Arsenal. Bro, the Euros has given us all a nice distraction, you know, from the stress that is about to begin come the start of August. Jeremiah said, join late, Curtis. Have you discussed Guendouzi yet? As for Ben White, I thought this was advanced anyway. He's not my priority signing. We need a right back, as you said. Shout out from Botswana. We will discuss Guendouzi shortly, bro. So you haven't missed that. A lot of people saying Ben White is not needed. I personally think that Arsenal could still do with a centre-back, but it shouldn't be the first like major signing. Go and spend 50 million on the defensive midfielder or the attacking midfielder or the right back. And then if you've got money left at the end of the window, go and get your centre-back. But we'll see. We'll see, you know. Let's see the way they do it. I suppose it doesn't matter what order we sign the players as long as we get them all in. My worry is, are we going to get these players done? The season starts in 5 weeks. The window's been open for nearly 4 weeks. officially we haven't signed one player yet, and that's where my worry is. Ben White is miles better than Holding and Chambers. Upgrade the standards. I mean, listen, I hope he is miles better. I feel like I haven't seen enough of him to really say, yes, he is a lot better than those two. I think he's better, but how much better, I don't know. Average Gunner said, Curtis, I'm expecting the worst from this window. I feel like they went hard on White just so they can say we spent money if things go bad. That's unfortunately, Arsenal fans, we're always pessimistic about the window because we're used to being let down by this football club in the window. So, listen, I always say don't get your hopes up too high, and then if they sign someone big, it's a bonus. We can enjoy it. Buenos Aires Guna, another centre-back in Tapsoba, not Ben White because he can play from the back. F modern football. Tapsoba apparently is somebody that we're very interested in if Ben White doesn't happen. Shamba said, Big C, we don't need Ben White. Let's have a look at this. Do you think it's about time people put some respect on Southgate's name? I think he's having a very good tournament and he does deserve some respect. Christopher said, I want Max Aarons. He's not that expensive. I would like Max Aarons as well. Just finally, before I move on from the whole striker situation that we were talking about, if Lacazette is to go, if Eddie Nketiah is to go, we're going to have to bring in a striker, possibly bring in a striker. We could go Aubameyang, Martinelli, and Balogun. We've seen Andre Silva. Fee agreed. RB Leipzig. He was one of the potential players. Patson Dakar's gone to Leicester. Odsonne Edouard could still be available. He's still at Celtic. 18 million quid, I think, would be decent. But would Arsenal fans have any interest in this guy right here, Danny Ings? He's been one of the best strikers in the Premier League the last couple of years, although last year he was injury prone. Danny Ings, David Ornstein coming out with a story. Danny Ings has turned down a new 4-year contract at Southampton. Deal would have made him the best paid player in Southampton history. The 28-year-old wants to test himself at a higher level. The club must decide whether to sell this summer or lose for free in 2022. Now, they're saying they want £40 million for Danny Ings. If I start with the negatives, he's 28. It's not that old, but, you know, you would like to get a bit longer. He's had a major knee injury as well. He turns 29 on the 23rd of July as well. So he is 29. He's already on 100 grand a week. Apparently this new deal was 150 grand a week, but he has banged goals in, 22 goals the year before. He got the same amount as Aubameyang, 40 mil. Would you take Danny Ings? I can already see from the comments, most of you are saying no. Although some of you say, yeah, Jimbo said Ings is miles better than Lacazette. Breakin says Danny, no. South London's fine. He said, nah, he's made of glass. Taz said he's injury prone. Arsenal all over. Jashar said injury prone. Wage demands, like I said, he's turned down 150 grand a week. So I would imagine he's going to want that if he came to Arsenal. For me, I think Ings, I'll put it like this. I think if Danny Ings played the same amount of games as Lacazette, I think Ings would score more goals than him. What my problem is, 29 in July, 150 grand, had a major knee injury. For me, I wouldn't go for it personally. I do like him as a striker, but the injury and the age and the demands, I think, is too much for what he represents at the moment. Ida Wu said, big up, bro. Love your content. Sure you're feeling better. Right back and defensive partner to Thomas Partey should be the priority. Big up. And I agree with you on those players. SDMI Miles said, go for Moussa Dembele. Could be available, although I believe he is in talks about another loan. So we'll have to see on that. Robert said, Ings, join Everton and we take Calvert-Lewin. Possibly. Calvert-Lewin would be expensive. Naledi said, Naledi, sorry, I hope I'm not butchering your name, said, forget injury-prone players, please. We've had enough of them over the years at Arsenal. 100 games in 3 seasons, so can someone explain how he's injury-prone? I think people more refer to what was happening before at Liverpool. I think he played 14 games in 3 years at Liverpool in the league. But, yeah, since he's gone to Southampton, hasn't been injury-prone at all. But that knee injury is always there. It's always a worry that it could potentially go again. Jashar said Ings would definitely score more than Lacazette, no doubt, but I can't see past his injuries. Bring Marlin back. Yeah, I mean, listen, he looked good in the Euros. A few people saying Andrea Belotti for 30 million euros. I mean, is he available for that, Belotti? He has looked quite good, I have to admit. When he came on the other day, he did look decent for Italy. But then I'm looking at him. What did he get? 13 goals last year. I mean, in the last 4 seasons, Belotti hasn't hit 20 goals. Is it 20 league goals once in 6 seasons? Are his numbers big enough? I know he doesn't play for one of the best teams. So, man said, no Danny hamstrings. You don't want Danny hamstrings at Arsenal, yeah. I think the general feeling is most of you wouldn't want Danny Ings. I think he's a good player, but I just think the whole package, 29, 150 grand, 40 million, had a big knee injury. I would probably stay away from it. Would you take Iheanacho? No, I don't think I would. He is banging goals in, but nah. I think Martinelli can do the business for us long term through the middle. You know, why go and spend and look, they would want good money for Iheanacho. They're not just going to hand him over. So nah, not for me. Risa says Balogun. Listen, I hope Balogun gets an opportunity at Arsenal next season. We'll have to see. Alex said Kasper Dolberg from Nice, still 23, pure scorer. He's had a good tournament. Iheanacho is a baller. Listen, he had a great season last year at Leicester. But I don't think he would be cheap, and I'm not sure that's who I would go for. Max said, big up, Big C. One player who definitely won't be getting an opportunity at Arsenal. Some would say rightly so. Some would say he was frozen out, and we all know this guy very well, is Matteo Guendouzi. There you can see Guendouzi is in Marseille, tying up the deal, completing his medical and so on and so forth. That deal is going to be completed. It is a 1-year loan for £1 million with it will complete a 10 million deal next summer. Obligation to buy, so they have to buy him. Guendouzi will not play for Arsenal again. And the 21-year-old French international leaves the football club. Of course, he had his issues with Mikel Arteta. I watched Guendouzi play a number of times, and listen, whilst I think he had deficiencies in his game, I think sometimes he drifted too much and left space in the middle of the park. One thing I always liked about this guy was his bravery on the ball. He always wanted the ball. You know, I've seen games where your El Nenes, your Xhakas, they don't really want the ball in pressure situations. This guy always wanted the ball. It was kind of his attitude off the pitch that has ruined things for him. You know, he's fell out with Arteta, and you can see that Arteta is kind of this dictator where you have to deal with things the way I deal with things, or you ain't going to work at this football club. So it's a shame because, listen, for me, I think Guendouzi has got potential. But listen, we've spoken about him a lot and at length. What was interesting was Guendouzi. Listen, I will never question his passion on the pitch. He had this to say as he moved on. He said, I'm concerned about the club's situation because Arsenal deserve great things. I am a gunner from the bottom of my heart and will remain so no matter what happens. To see the club fail to qualify for Europe for the first time in 25 years hurt deeply. I mean, he's firing shots a little bit there, in my opinion. He's letting you, man, know, listen, because he goes on to say more. And in that interview, he goes to big up Arsene Wenger. He's previously mentioned Unai Emery. So clearly he's letting letting us all know I've got a problem with Mikel Arteta. And he's kind of saying that. But yeah, sly little digs, and they are well-deserved. Listen, I think Guendouzi did care about Arsenal. I do think his attitude at times was a little bit petulant and immature. But he's speaking truth, you know. He's right what he said. You're concerned about the club situation, 100%. Every fan, every person who works for the club, they should be concerned with the situation, 100%. Said he's a gunner from the bottom of his heart, you know. To see the club fail to qualify for the first time in 25 years hurts deeply. Yeah, you're damn right. That hurts. That hurts all of us. And I always say this. When players leave the football club, For years, what Arsenal fans have always done is gone, yeah, that player's gone. He's not good enough. His attitude's bad. He's a snake, this, that, the other. Sometimes you've got to hear what they say when they leave. I remember when Van Persie went United. For me, one of the most painful transfers that's ever happened at Arsenal. This guy was telling us, the man put out the statement and said, listen, I wanted to know what players we were going for. All they were doing was showing me the sheets of how much profit they'd made last year. Business, Arsenal. This is what they were thinking, even from all those years ago. Business, business, business. They should have sat there with Van Persie and gone, we're going for this player, that player. We're going for the title. There's your contract. Sign the deal. They went, look at this money that we made last year. This is where Arsenal were moving like a business. And the warning signs were there from years. You're right, Ashley Cole to Chelsea. Every Arsenal fan went, Ashley Cole, he's a money grabber, he's a snake. No, the reality is he went and won everything at Chelsea. Yeah, naturally, if you're in a job, you do your job well, and somebody wants you to come to your company, more than likely they're going to offer you a pay rise. That doesn't mean you're just chasing money because another company wants to offer you more money. That's natural. So yeah, the warning signs have been there for absolutely years. It's interesting because I see some of you, like Red Ludite said, he can't score goals, can't tackle, overrated. I mean, listen, I don't think those two stats are the two things purely to judge a player on. There are a lot of players. Xavi, look at Xavi at Barcelona. Was he good at tackling? No. Was he good at scoring? Not really. He got 2 or 3 goals a season. I'm not saying Guendouzi is Xavi, of course, but I'm saying certain midfielders have certain qualities. False Manager said Doozy is not a yes man. No, I don't think he is. But listen, he's gone. It's one of them. We move on. 10 million. I think Marseille got a good deal there at 10 million. I say that. To get a 21-year-old with that potential, French international, I would have liked to have seen Arsenal get 20 million for him, but 10 million for Matteo Guendouzi. Number one, just let me know quickly in the comments. Do you believe that Guendouzi needed to go? Was he too immature? Was it time to get rid of him? Or do you believe that Mikel Arteta, with better man management skills, could have put his arm around him and said, listen, you're 21, you've been on loan, get your head down now, focus, you've got potential, let's make this work. Would you have liked to have seen Guendouzi stay, or do you just think wasn't good enough, bad attitude, get rid of him? But one thing I think we can all agree on, whether you wanted to keep him or not, £10 million is shocking business. And somebody put in the comments yesterday, if Guendouzi played for Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, I'm sure they would be getting 20 million quid for him, just purely off what's on his CV. The fact he's a French international. But it is what it is. Guendouzi to Marseille. Of course, we know William Saliba is going to follow him to Marseille on loan. Everyone is now coming out because there was this story coming out of L'Equipe saying there was an option to buy him at the end of it. The likes of Fabrizio, Chris Wheatley, they've all come out and said there is no option to buy Saliba at the end of it. But for me, Saliba should not be going on loan for another season. But it is what it is. Big C being saying that, put an arm around him. He's young and now a father. Yeah, so you would have liked to have thought you could have seen that maturity. Wenger would have made him a superstar. He was good at those kind of players, to be fair. He will be in Saliba's ear. He will be saying, listen, man, if they have a good season and hit Europe, he'll be saying, stay here on a permanent. Jashar said, big up Curtis. To be honest, I thought he was going to leave on a free, so at least we got our money back. Yeah, I mean, £3 million profit. Profit's profit. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, people. But I would have liked to have seen a little more profit. Imagine Arteta with Vieira and RVP. I mean, RVP had a very strong personality and was quite rebellious at times as well. Vieira obviously was just an immense leader. Arteta can't handle flashy players. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that, listen, footballers nowadays are different, and a lot of managers have to understand that. They're not the guys they were back in the day. These guys are 18, 19, 20. They're rich. They're rich. They're buying Ferraris. They're wearing diamond chains. They're buying mansions. It ain't, back in the day, they were like, listen, just focus on football. Nobody cares about what you do off the pitch. Just live and breathe football. These guys now are a brand. They've got an agent who's probably saying, listen, we might make a clothing label off your name, or we want to open a business in your name. So, we need you on Instagram wearing nice, clothes all the time and driving big cars and buying big houses. It's different. It's a different generation. And a lot of managers seem to they can't deal with it, when these young players are a little bit flashy. Yeah, flexing FC, man, big drip. You know what I mean? These men are on big drip nowadays. It ain't like back in the day with Roy Keane where you live and breathe football. It's different. CR7 could buy Crystal Palace. Yeah, do you know what I mean? He probably could. I'm sure. Didn't they say Ronaldo was on his way to being a billionaire footballer, richest footballer of all time, I think they said. Gucci FC, man, I'm telling you. M2RU said Arteta out, bro. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, but listen, let's see. Let's hope he starts the season well. Let's hope we get some signings through the door. Gambian Guna, I like Guendouzi, but he has had problems at every club, even at Hertha. They wanted to buy him in December. In February, they didn't want him anymore. Something is wrong with him. Seems to have a little chip on his shoulder, unfortunately. But at a certain stage in his career, a manager's going to get it right with him, and I believe he will improve. Jashar said, winners aren't robots. They have personality and can be nasty to achieve their goals, 100%. Saliba or Ben White? I mean, listen, I'm not saying Saliba's better than Ben White because that would be naive of me to say that. What I'm saying is Saliba is an Arsenal player. It's not going to cost us 50 million to get Saliba. Look after what you've got before you look at adding to it. So I'm going to say Saliba, not in the sense of I believe Saliba's better than Ben White, because I don't know the answer to that. Just in terms of we've already got him, And what I don't understand, okay, fair enough. They believe maybe that he needs to go out on loan. And yeah, Sam, he is going out on loan. He's on his way to Marseille. I don't understand why Arsenal didn't at least say to Saliba, come on tour, before we think about sending you on loan. Go to Scotland. Arsenal play Hibernian and Rangers in Scotland. Go to Florida. Arsenal play against Inter Miami, I believe, and Everton. And let's see how good he is. 2 or 3 weeks in training, a few games. Let's see what the guy's about. Why just say straight away, right, you're going on loan? Why not give him a chance? A man like Mo said, Big C, when Arteta came, he said he wanted passion. Guendouzi shown passion, gets loaned. Well, gets sold, in fact. But yeah, maybe he overstepped the mark. I don't know. It's a difficult one. Outgun said, Arteta can't handle the young G's. Where is the coaching? I mean, listen, AirPods, what's he gonna say to these, man? Man's got an AirPod in, I don't know if these guys can handle them. I don't really know how good the coaching staff are at Arsenal. Yanni said, this makes sense, Curtis. They will never do that. Look after what you've got first. Jay Muller said, big up Curtis from Mexico. We are work experience FC. Who do you think is going to lead us out of this mess? I mean, listen, you guys know me in terms of my opinion on Mikel Arteta. I don't think he's the right manager to lead us, but I hope he gets it right. Listen, I would love nothing more, and I genuinely mean this, I would love nothing more than me to do a stream, sit here and say, do you know what? All the slander, all the clown pictures, all the dictator pictures, looking like an army soldier, all of those pictures, I got them wrong. This guy proved me wrong, and he's a great manager. I would love it. I would hold my hands up. We'll do a whole stream celebrating him. I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he proves everyone wrong who's questioning him. Pac said, Big C, you heard it here first. With Saliba and Guendouzi and Marseille squad, they will be fighting to win Liga. I mean, that's a massive compliment on those two. But I'm sure they'll have a good season. Sheets of Metal said, Big C, how many English players does the Prem need in each club? Maybe that's why Arsenal are looking at White. I believe you need 5 or 6 in your squad. So, yeah, maybe that's why. I mean, in terms of what was just said there about Guendouzi and Saliba, obviously the likes of Payet is at Marseille as well. So, listen, they've got a few decent players there. I'm sure they'll have a good time there. And their fan base, their stadium rocks. 8 homegrown is needed. There you go, in the squad. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure they'll win the league. I think probably PSG with Poch this year. Obviously, Lille are going to lose a lot of players. So I do think that PSG will probably win it. One player that could be available, I've put it in the title, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be to Arsenal now. With all this story now breaking, is that Eduardo Camavinga, one of the highest rated young midfielders in Europe, who plays for Rennes, it was believed they weren't going to sell him this summer. He does have a year left on his contract. And apparently he has now told Rennes that, look, I will not sign a new contract. And Rennes have now decided, listen, let's just sell him. 30 million euros. Arsenal were apparently interested. PSG, it seems like Manchester United are at the front of the queue now. They're in talks to get him. And obviously 30 million euros is peanuts for United. United also in talks with Rafa Varane. I mean, Varane, for me, had a bad Euros, but I still think he's a quality player. And this is the frustration, isn't it? Manchester United have a protest. And let's face it, it was a big protest. They got on the pitch. And they end up signing Sancho. They may get Varane. They may get Camavinga. We have a protest. And you give us, who let the dogs out, Nuno Tavares and Albert Lokonga, who we've not really heard of too much before. Something went wrong somewhere, people. Do you know what I mean? Something went wrong somewhere. The protest wasn't big enough. And like you said, yeah, Ramos, Donnarumma, Wijnaldum, Hakimi, yeah, PSG will win the French league next year. But yeah, it looks as if Eduardo Camavinga, available now for 30 million euros. It's about 26 million pounds. But unfortunately for us, doesn't look like he's going to be joining Arsenal. It looks as if he could be on his way to Manchester United. Could be a bargain. Amsterdam said Renato Sanchez to Liverpool. I mean, he's being linked with Arsenal as well, but we'll have to see on that. Apparently, Liverpool need to sell some players before they can bring players in. Their wage bill is very big at the moment. And it looks as if that's delaying them buying anyone. So maybe that one is going to get delayed. And maybe we can snatch a march. Anybody that has serious competition around them, it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to get. I'm being honest, like just for the simple fact that that we haven't got Europe. Players want to play in Europe. And we can't offer that, unfortunately. We're going to have to offer massive wages. Greedy Man said, I give up. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Final bit of transfer news, people, with Arsenal. Fabrizio put this earlier. Arsenal are still working on the final details. It's amazing how we take so long in it to get these players tied up, you know. Why is it taking so long? Yeah, the dogs, man. Yo, he's on his way. Apparently, he is in London, Nuno Tavares. He is quarantining in a London hotel, and when the quarantine finishes, I believe after 5 days he is allowed out of quarantine. He will then tie up his medical and complete his £8 million move. Arsene Wenger had pulling power. Nobody wants to play for the Cone Man. It's as simple as that. I won't argue with you. Wenger had that pulling power. Curtis, bro, your one-liners make my day. I have to try and bring some comedy to it. Final details for Albert Sombi Lokonga. Personal terms agreed, 17.5 million euros plus 4.5 million add-ons. Future sale percentage to be discussed. I mean, still seems to be that. Lokonga is not present at Anderlecht's training camp. Apparently, they've travelled to Holland. Lokonga hasn't travelled. He will definitely be leaving. He should become an Arsenal player, but the deal seems to be dragging out. What I didn't realise, in fact, is that Vincent Kompany is the manager of Anderlecht. And of course, Mikel Arteta was assistant manager of Manchester City when Vincent Kompany was a player and was the captain there. So surely Arteta and Vincent Kompany's, you know, how they've got on and friendship in the past should make this deal happen. And this guy should end up an Arsenal player. How good is he? We don't know. I've seen highlights. You know, I've done the usual YouTube and stuff. Time will tell. Time will tell. Reggie Fort said, I think you Arsenal fans need to accept that big money signings aren't your lane. You have to get by with low-key signings, same model as Dortmund and Ajax. And I think that's where we are right now, unfortunately. We're not at the top table. We can't go and get a 60, 70 million pound top player. He's going to say, well, you haven't even got Europe. You know, I'm not interested. I look at Liverpool. Liverpool won the title with players like, Salah came from Roma. You look at Roberto Firmino. He was a number 10 who came from Hoffenheim. I think there are a lot of players out there you can get if your scouting is good enough. Tom Martin said, great content as always, Curtis. Robbie says a number 10 is our must-sign position. What's yours? Where should we sacrifice the big fee? I hear Robbie and I get him to a point there. I think we need the midfield partner to Thomas Partey more than the number 10. Because worst case scenario, and I mean worst case, I think we could get away with Smith Rowe playing 10. I don't think we can get away with Granit Xhaka, Mohamed El Neni playing next to Thomas Partey. I think that midfield gets dealt with. So I personally think the pivot is the biggest position that we need to sign. Get that midfielder next to Thomas Partey. Yeah, maybe right back as well. Maybe right back. I just think, as crazy as it is, and I could be wrong on this, but I feel like sometimes you can get away with an average right back if your defense is solid and your midfield is solid. I think you can get away with a right back that's not a world beater, where I think in midfield you can't get away with that. The midfield is the engine room of your team. I think you put that quality player next to Thomas Partey, and I think then you see the best of Thomas Partey. So for me, yeah, the central midfield partner to Partey for me is the number one, in my opinion. Basuma would be immense. Yeah, Ainsley, listen, maybe Ainsley could play at right back, worst case scenario, but we'll have to see. Ainsley could do bits at right back, but he wants midfield. Will he be sold this summer? Of course, he had the car crash last week. I think he is all right. Arsenal return to training this Wednesday. Pre-season training will start back for all the Arsenal players that haven't travelled with their international squads to the Euros or Copa America or the Gold Cup or anything else. They will return for training, so you'll start seeing the pictures. I'm sure there'll be brand new training kit out on Wednesday or sometime over the next week. And I believe the home kit is due to be released in the next week or two as well. So we'll have to see. At the moment, we're a little bit in limbo. We haven't signed anyone. It's difficult to be excited. I think Tavares and Lokonga will happen. Even if we sign those two, how positive and how happy do we get with those two? I see them two more as backup players. But Arsenal need to act. They need to act quick. We need a number 10. I'd love to see Maddison or Mateus Pereira or somebody like that. Or do we get the number 8? I'd love to see Sabitzer. I do think Basuma would be ideal next to Thomas Partey. We need a right back. For me, Max Aarons. I think they would sell him 30 million. There are probably other right backs out there as well, to be honest. Dumfries had a good tournament, but I'm not fully convinced by him. Would you still take Lamptey, although he's had injury problems? And then obviously at centre-back, it looks as if we're going for Ben White, but maybe there would be better options than him at £50 million. We'll have to see on that one. Would you take Curtis Shaw on a free transfer all day long, people? Get him fit, get him in the squad. All sorts can happen. But listen, Greedy Man, listen, is it coming home? Is this the start of the biggest week in English football history since 1966? Is this the start of the week that England win a major international tournament? Obviously, we'll be doing a watch along on Wednesday evening. England against Denmark. Bukayo Saka is in training today. He's back. He's fit. He's available. Will he be playing instead of the boy Jadon Sancho? Jadon Sancho, for me, I didn't think Sancho played great the other day for England. I thought he was steady. I thought he was decent. But was he better than what Bukayo Saka's been doing since he's been playing? I think Saka maybe has done more. We'll have to see on that one. But hopefully it's coming home this week, people. Big up to everyone for tuning in. Over 1,600 of you still in here. Really appreciate your support today. We will be back tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow we'll be doing the watch along for Italy against Spain tomorrow night. So double upload tomorrow. 2 p.m. for your Arsenal content. And then we'll do 7:30 for Italy, Spain. We'll try and do some build up for that game. And then on Wednesday, of course, same thing again, 2 p.m. Arsenal and 7:30 England against Denmark. Big up to everyone in the chat. Smash a like on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, people, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bless.